Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Maybe it will be okay. So, we continue our discussion on Śikṣāṣṭakam and how it can be our personal guide. And this morning we discussed the second verse, and we said that holy name has different potencies. Actually has all different potencies, but Acharya specifically mentioned different potencies like power to bring Krishna under our control or to eradicate all different types of sin, and that the holy name cannot be grasped with material senses. It is important to understand that with our tongue and our ears we cannot produce the holy name. So if we chant and think of other things, this is not chanting the holy name actually, but it's nama-abhas. And if we consciously think of other things, it's nama-aparad. Yes. So, and we mentioned that we are greatly unfortunate if we cannot taste the holy name, as Lord Chaitanya says, that his Durdevam idrisham ihajani nanuragaha. Durdevam is very unfortunate. Yes. So, and we mentioned that Prabhupada and other acharyas stress that the greatest obstacle for us to taste is what? You remember? Are offenses against the holy name. Yes, offenses against the holy name. Yes. And these are 10 offenses to the holy name, and we mentioned the most dangerous offenses. Vaishnava Parada. Yes. And next was Artavad, that we think that the glory of the holy name is exaggerated. Yes. And of course, Guru Avagya, that we don't follow the instruction of our spiritual master. And we mentioned that committing sins on the strength of the holy name, and chanting with prayerful mood for some material benefits. It's also a big offense. And keep material attachments, or that even if we don't want to get rid of them, it can be possible. Yes, this is now aparat. So the solution is constant chanting with a grieved heart. Yes. Please, Krishna, help me. I'm helpless. I'm so low, full of material desires. Please help me. I cannot help myself. If we pray in this mood, then and constantly, therefore we will see in third verse, Kirtanya Sadahari, that we should constantly turn to the holy name. Then we are connected all the time. Yes, and if we are connected all the time, then these offenses can be mitigated. If we don't commit them again. But if we commit them again and again, and we pray, please forgive us, forgive me. This is again this seventh offense, to commit nonsense on the strength of the holy name. Yes. Trying to cheat the holy name. Yes. So we should stay away of our inabilities to be fixed, and pray for Lord's mercy. Okay, now we will go to third verse in Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka, which is, I believe, one of the most famous verses from Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka, and extremely important, especially for every sadhaka. It's Trinadapi sunichana taroriva sahishnana amanina manadina kirtanya sadahari. Trinadapi sunichana means that one should be more humble than the blade of grass. Yes, Trinadapi sunichana. How is it possible to be more humble than a blade of grass? What do you think?
When someone step on you, you can't. Because when he remove his step, you will again rise up like a blade of grass. When you step on him, he bound, but when you move the foot, he again.
Yes. Okay, what is the humility here? How can we be more humble than a blade of grass? That we don't stand up? It's interesting, because one may think that this is one kind of exaggeration, or just some expression to emphasize something. But we should really be more humble than a blade of grass. And how can be done? We should understand that blade of grass is always struggling for survival in this material world. And if we look closely, if we study the blade of grass, we can see that the blade of grass is in constant battle with other blades of grass, and trying to prevail over other blades of grass. It's fighting for its space, for its existence, material existence, of course. But we shouldn't consider material existence as something valuable, as blade of grass is considering it. So we should be therefore more humble than a blade of grass. We don't fight for our material existence. We should take care of our spiritual existence. Yes. Of course, that doesn't mean that we just give up this life, that we just die or something. But we understand that we are not this body, and that this body is given to us by Krishna to use it in Krishna's service. So we maintain this body very nicely, like one maintains his car, for example. Yes, because we know we need a car for different services, different purposes, and therefore, if one is intelligent, he will take care of the car. Otherwise, he will stay on the road somewhere, and he cannot achieve his goal if the car is not taken care of very, very nicely. And it's our duty, actually, because is entrusted to us by Krishna to perform some service. So in this way we take care of the body properly. It means that we live healthily. Yes. Some exercise is needed. And that we don't eat too much or too little. As Krishna explains, don't sleep too much and don't sleep too little. In the 6th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, Krishna explains, no, this is another verse. Is natyashnatasya yogosti nachekanta manashnatah nachati swapnashilasya jagrato neva charjana. One should not sleep too much. And then next verse, yukta hara viharasya yukta shreshtasya karmasu yukta swapnama bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. That one should be very moderate in eating, sleeping, work, recreation. And then he can devote himself to yoga. Otherwise, we cannot properly execute our spiritual life. If even, for example, if a small thorn is stuck in our foot, it occupies a millimeter or two of the body, but still all our consciousness goes to this thorn. And it's not easy to chant if you have a thorn in your foot. So insignificant inconvenience, insignificant inconvenience, but still completely occupies our consciousness. So therefore we should be very careful not to create unnecessary inconveniences for our body and mind. And these inconveniences come by passion. Yes. For passion, it is characteristic that brings misery. So if you don't live very in balanced way, then we'll definitely suffer. And instead of focusing on our service, we'll focus on our body. And yes, so humility doesn't mean that we deny our bodily needs, but that we understand that we are not masters ourselves, that Krishna is the master. The only master is Krishna. This is true humility. And then we can, even if we are, for example, fighters, we can kill, like Arjuna was a warrior, so his humility was killing. Yes. Krishna didn't agree when he wanted to become a sannyasi, humble sannyasi, not to do any harm to any living entity. He said, no, from where this impurity came upon you. Yes. You should kill. That is humbleness. Yes, very interesting, isn't it? Yes. So yes, Trinada Bhisunichana. And actually Lord Chaitanya showed his personal example of humility. And first, he in his life, he was very arrogant scholar. If you remember from the life of Lord Chaitanya, he was, of course, the best in any debate possible, and he loved to debate, and he challenged everyone for a debate. And then he challenged someone, tell me about Siddhanta of this and this. And he tried to establish Siddhanta very thoroughly, and he said, wrong. He established something completely the opposite and supported by Shastra from all angles of vision, and then said, is this correct? And the other person was completely defeated. He also challenged devotees. Gadadhar Pandit, for example, who was practically in love with Lord Chaitanya from his birth, he tried to avoid him as far as he could because he always challenged him. And then, of course, no one could defeat his arguments, but he said, what I said is all wrong. And he established the first point that this person gave. And then he said, now defeat this argument. And then then he again defeated this argument, he himself, and so on and so forth. Yes. But later on, so this is example how the living entity is full of pride in this life. Every living being is full of pride and wants to be superior to others and fight for this supremacy with everyone. Yes. No one wants to be anyone's servant. Yeah. And this idea creates hell. There was one joke that, or I don't know if I can call it a joke, but still it's a very illustrative story. That hell and heaven are completely the same. There was one big pot of food and extremely long spoons, many meters long spoons. Have you heard about this? And in heaven everything was perfect harmony, because with these spoons they fed each other, because it was too long to eat yourself, so they fed each other with these spoons. But in hell there was great suffering, because no one wanted to feed the other one and tried to eat with this long spoon himself, but it couldn't go. So they suffered terribly. Yes, but otherwise condition is the same. But they created themselves hell. Yes. So because of this consciousness that we want to be masters, we create hell, actually. Vaikuntha consciousness is service mentality. I'm a servant. I'm a servant of the servant. This is Vaikuntha mentality. And material mentality, I'm a master. I'm master of everyone. Yeah. This material mentality. And I don't want to be a servant. I remember when I just started Krishna consciousness, and I was reading Prabhupada's books, and there it is repeatedly stated, you must be a servant. And I said, my God, now I have to be a servant. All my life I wanted to be something special, master. But now this guy is telling me to be a servant. This is something really, really heavy to digest. And I remember my Guru Maharaj told a story how he wrote a letter to his parents, and he signed it, your servant. And then the reply came from the parents, how can you denigrate yourself so much? We taught you to be proud person, and so, and now you're right, you're signing as your servant. They were really worried about their son, and then he replied to this letter, servant of your servants. And then they didn't dare to reply to this letter again. Hare Krishna. Sorry? Yes. Yes. So, yes, but when Lord Chaitanya, although he was so arrogant scholar, when he went to Gaya to perform these rites for deceased relatives, and he took initiation from Ishwarapuri, and then he came back to Mayapur completely changed. And he really was humbler than a blade of grass in the street. And he even washed clothes for devotees. And he performed some menial services for the devotees. Yes. So, and for example, the other story of how Lord Chaitanya exhibited his humility was when he encountered sannyasis in Varanasi, Mayavadi sannyasis. He washed his feet and sat there at this washing place. And this is, of course, impure place to sit. And everyone was astonished when they saw the humility of Lord Chaitanya. And they said, why do you sit here in this impure place? You're a very great personality. Please come and sit with us. And he said, I'm a low, you're low sannyasi, you're all higher sannyasis than I am. So he touched their hearts with humility. So humility is very powerful tool, we can say, also. Can touch hearts of people. And if you remember, also Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, who was a lion guru, he instructed his disciples who went to the West how to preach. And he said to them that you should flatter these Westerners. Yes, you're a great personality, and you know so much, and so on, with very humble approach. And also Prabhupada, his idea, his tactic was in like a needle, out like a plow. Yes. Hare Krishna. So But we can see, although all this humility was just for service, not for some selfish purposes. And Prabhupada was most humble, actually. He always stressed that all his success in the West is just his spiritual master's mercy, and all of his disciples were just sent by his spiritual master to him to help him in his mission. And he said, if it is you who perform this, to his disciples said, it's not me. So he gave all credit to his disciples and to his spiritual master, but not to himself. Yes. Hare Krishna. So humility is extremely important. If we don't practice humility consciously, one cannot progress in spiritual life. No way. Therefore, Vaishnava etiquette is so important. It is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Vaishnava etiquette is an ornament for a devotee. So, Lord is very pleased when his devotees are ornamented. Very nice for the Lord. And we should decorate ourselves with Vaishnava etiquette. Yes. Because this world, especially in Kali Yuga, is the world of quarrel and hypocrisy. And we all want to defeat others in debate, in whatever, in all regards. Actually, we want to establish that we are superior. But Vaishnava etiquette means that I follow the authority, and this is a very important point, actually, especially in communities. Here, for example, you have also a community. Because in community of devotees, and even if there is not such a community where people are living together, if just devotees are coming together and perform any kind of service, the material tendency is to expect recognition for your service. But this is material consciousness. This is, in fact, business mentality. So I perform my service with expectation, some type of material expectation, at least to be recognized, or to be that at least that others should be grateful for our service, and that when I'm in trouble, that I will be cared for. Of course, this is the duty of the community to appreciate and to care for. This is extremely important duty of a community. But if we expect this is material consciousness. One should not expect anything in return for devotional service. Yes. Because there are many instances that there can be some misunderstanding amongst devotees, and devotees are deeply hurt because they have the feeling that no one appreciates my service. Maybe someone may think I served 25 years or 30 years in the movement, or even more, but nobody appreciates it. They criticize me and so on. Yes, we should gladly accept everything that Krishna is sending. We should have proper understanding. So our acharyas stress so much this sambandha jnana, that without sambandha jnana no proper abhidaya and prayojana can be achieved. Because we should understand, I'm just a servant, nothing else. I have no right whatsoever. Yes, we should understand this point very deeply. I'm just a servant, and we should understand that everything that is happening to me is sent by Krishna personally, and it's for my benefit. So if everyone is smashing me, it's greatest mercy. We should perceive it like this. If we don't perceive it like this, and we start to stand up for our rights, this is material consciousness. And no hope for us to progress in spiritual life whatsoever. Yes. Because we have this material idea, I deserve, I'm right, you're wrong, and so on. But there is a great surprise. We live in the world of justice. Whatever is happening in this world is justice. There is no injustice in this world. Although one may think so many injustices are there, but everything is the world. This is the world of justice. Yes. The law of karma is the law of justice. Yes. But we don't want to live in the world of justice. We want to live in the world of mercy, of love. This is beyond justice. Mercy means no justice, because you get something that you don't deserve. This is not justice. Yes, this is mercy. So if one wants justice, he will get it. But then he will be robbed of mercy. So you can choose. We have this freedom to choose. Either we want justice or we want mercy. Yes. I believe many of us, we joined because we want mercy. So please strive for mercy, not for justice. Hare Krishna. Yes. Trinada Pisunichana. Taroriva Sahishnuna. The other is to be tolerant as a tree. It's also very hard to be as tolerant as a tree. And in Shastra, many times it is mentioned how tolerant is a tree. If one comes to cut down the tree gives him his shade, and and doesn't complain, and stands in the hot sun and in freezing winter, and gives everyone what they need. Gives fruits, gives his wood to keep us warm, although it stands in freezing cold, and give us shade and cool shade, although it stands in a hot sun, and doesn't protest any mistreatment. In this regard, it is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita that we should practice not to defend ourselves. This is extremely hard exercise, not to defend ourselves in any circumstance. Even if we are wrongly judged or we are accused of something that we didn't do, never complain, never object, never defend. Yes, this is extremely hard exercise, but if you are able to withstand it, then very quick spiritual advancement is there. Yes, because you understand. Because why we want to defend? This is our natural reaction to defend: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. These are bodily needs to survive. To survive. All these needs are there just to survive. And if we deny these needs, then our life is in danger, actually. So, therefore, these different fasting and different penances are there to understand that I should be master of my body, not slave to my body, not slave to my material existence. I should use my material existence as a tool for service, not as a tool for serving my bodily needs. Therefore, from time immemorial, these sages performed different kinds of austerities. Yes, and great austerity is not to defend. Try not to defend. At least on Ekadashis, for example. Yes. But if you try every time, you'll definitely quickly progress in spiritual life. Yes. And it is very interesting in this connection about trees. We discussed trees and how tolerant are trees. And it's interesting that Lord Krishna in Vrindavan, just before this Lila with Yagic Brahmanas was there, he glorified trees to his friends. And he said that these trees are most munificent, and as we explained, that give fruits to everyone, gives shade and so on. And then he said one beautiful verse, Etavat janma safalyam dehinam iha dehishu pranar artar diyavacha shreya acharanam sada. That one should give his life for the service of others, like these trees. Yes, pranar artar diyavacha. Prana means life. One should give his life. Artha is what? Wealth. Yes, one should give his wealth for the service of others. Diya is his intelligence. He should give one's intelligence for the service of others. And vacha? Words. Yes. One should give his words, speak only for the benefit of others, not for any other purpose than for the benefit of others. Yes. and then all fortune will be for everyone if we live like this. This is Krishna's order, actually, to give our life, our fortune, our intelligence, and our words for the benefit of others. And then he made this example with yogic brahmanas. Although they were highly qualified brahmanas, they were lower than trees because they didn't want to serve. When boys came to ask for food, they didn't want to give it. Yes. So trees are better than brahmanas if they don't devote their life to service. Yes. So we should devote our life to service very patiently, like a tree. Yes. This is very important. Yes, and Lord Chaitanya exhibited his patience in many instances. One was in his early devotional life, when they performed these regular kirtans in the house of Śrī. And there were many proud brahmanas in Mayapur who weren't allowed to join the kirtan in the house of Śrī because the door was locked. And then one very proud brahmana met Lord Chaitanya one day in the streets, and he became extremely angry and said to Lord Chaitanya, "What do you think who you are? And you disrespect brahmanas." And then he grabbed his Brahmin thread and tore it and said, "I curse you that you will never have any material happiness." And Lord Chaitanya just humbly accepted the curse, very happily, actually. Yes. So Lord Chaitanya exhibited extreme tolerance, and also Śrīvas, this Gopal Chapal, he put wine and meat and other paraphernalia for worshipping Durga on his doorstep. And what was the reaction of Śrīvas? Do you remember?
Yes, he found me, I'm a cheater.
Yes, he went to call all his neighbors. And then he didn't try to defend himself, as we mentioned before. This exercise, not to defend ourselves. He invited all his neighbors. See what I do during the night. Just see now. You can see who I really am. But these brahmanas, of course, they didn't believe this. They were disgusted, and they ordered someone that he cleaned the place and washed it and with cow dung and so on. Yes, so we should be very tolerant. Even if great injustices, so-called injustices, come upon us, we should be very tolerant. We covered half of the verse, but I think the time is gone. So we will continue this tomorrow, this verse. But if there is any question or comment or doubt, please don't hesitate to ask. 8 o'clock. Yes, it's 8 o'clock.
You're talking about defending ourselves. If somebody is accusing us,
yes,
something we have done, personally myself, first of all, thank you for the very nice class. Yeah, usually if we done something wrong, we say, "Oh yes, sorry, I did it," you know. But it's a false accusation.
Yeah.
The first thing is, "Oh, come on, you don't even know what you're talking about," you know. It's like, I didn't do that. But after half an hour, or you know, mind cools down and intelligence kicks in, and then I should not have, you know, just keep quiet, just let him talk. Especially as you know, in management, it's a, you know, it's a sharp sword you're dealing with, you know, never right, you know. So,
Yes.
so yeah, the art of not defending is it's very difficult, you know. I've
Yes.
seen with Janananda Maharaj, I mean I spent with your Guru Maharaj also. The more you advance, Janananda Maharaj, we were in a meeting, somebody was accusing him of something. He was smiling and he was taking it. Krishna is kind, he's talking. You know, you don't see that. Oh yeah, we hear this in the Shastra that, Prahlad Maharaj took it, Dhruva Maharaj took it, you know, but we saw Maharaj, but it's so difficult to implement it that half an hour of trying to defend, trying to justify, trying to say, you know, didn't do this, or you're stupid, or, you know, it's like your mind creates all sorts of circles of illusion. So maybe you have some tips you can give us.
Yes, yes. Therefore, I warned you. It's not a easy exercise. Actually, very difficult. But if we focus on, therefore, it's so important to hear regularly and keep association, even if it's just through books and lectures, that we take it seriously, what we read and what we hear. And I've just read how important is regular strict sadhana. If we don't perform regular strict sadhana, there will be so many impurities that will overcome our consciousness. Immediately. So our sadhana is, as long as we are sadhakas, is our only refuge, actually. Only shelter in this material world. There is no other shelter, actually. And therefore, it's so important to have proper sambandha jnana, as we explained, that we know proper tattva. Because I can see this is lack of knowledge of tattva amongst devotees. And then there is so much emotional understanding of Krishna consciousness. Yes. And if there is no proper tattva, then everything can be destroyed. If someone says something that is not pleasing to our mind and senses, we easily get offended, and then we offend others because of our emotional state, and our spiritual life goes down. And when our spiritual life goes down, then more material desires come to our heart, and so on. So therefore, it's so important to properly understand tattva, to listen, to study, and so on. This is not because many times we can hear this is jnana, but no, this is bhakti, because it's Krishna Katha. We don't hear dry jnana, we hear Krishna Katha. And through proper hearing, therefore Prabhupada so much stressed hearing, And he said that hearing is the most important process, although Lord Chaitanya said chanting. But without proper hearing, there will be no proper chanting. So by proper hearing, with engaged hearing, then we can also practice what we hear. But immediately when we become lax in hearing and in reading, then we forget in most crucial moments. We forget because we are not trained. And therefore Krishna says again and again, also in Bhagavad-gita, he stresses abhyasa. That means training of our consciousness, like a military drill. Yes. Yes. So this is my recommendation, that we study and hear and chant. This, of course, and then remembrance will be there, natural. Chanting, deep chanting, and hearing. Don't chant just superficially, or that you do other things during your chanting. Of course, we can chant all the time, that we also do other things, but our quota of that we promise to ourselves, because 16 rounds should be minimum, not maximum. Yes. We know what is minimum. I believe there is some wage, minimum wage in France, isn't it? And it is considered not very conducive for life to have minimum wage, isn't it? And for example, these people in concentration camps, they survive. These people that survived these concentration camps, they received minimum food, for example, just barely to survive. So 16 rounds is minimum, just barely to survive. Prabhupada said first, chant 64 rounds to his disciples. And then the disciples said, Prabhupada, it's impossible. And he said, okay, chant 32. And they said, it's impossible to 32. Then he said, okay, 16 minimum, without offense. So we should know that 16 is minimum. We shouldn't stick to 16. 16 means better survival. We should increase step by step. It's wise to go step by step, otherwise we'll destroy our life again if we don't go step by step. So deep chanting, and that we chant our quota with focused attention. Deep chanting and proper hearing every day. Then we can hope to pass these tests that Krishna is sending to us. Because these tests will be sent to us, because they are beneficial for our spiritual progress. No one can progress without tests, really. And I saw one very interesting experiment, physical experiment. They throw the ball on the slope. One slope was straight down, and other slope was like this, wavy. And the ball that went down on the straight slope was slower than the ball that went on the wavy slope. Interesting, isn't it? So these obstacles in our life, that in our spiritual life that goes like this, up and down, makes our progress faster than if everything would be just smooth. Yes, this is the law of physics also, not not just of spiritual existence.
No pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain. Yes. Hare Krishna. Is this okay?
Thank you. Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanandi.